You're welcome, Maya. We have to get together when we're going to talk. If you'd like. All right. And when you come in, yeah. Okay, good. You're welcome. Take care. All the best. Bye. Feel good. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody had a wonderful Purim. So this week's Parsha is Parsha's Vayakhel. Vayakhel means, and he gathered. Want to sign it? Parsha fact? You have more of the Parsha facts, or you left for me here? One second. Yeah, here. I have a bunch of ones, different versions. I'm make sure I gave you the right one. Okay. So Vayakhel is next to the last portion in Chumash Shemais in the book of Exodus. Did you get a Parsha fact? Want to come up and get one? Come on up. And you can sign in if you'd like.
I did. Thank you, Rabbi Czapnik.
You're very welcome. It's one of the next to the last portion in Chumash Vayikra, Chumash Shemais in the book of Exodus. Many times it is read with next week's portion together. Pekudei, Vayakhel and Pekudei many times are put together. Why do we do that? Anyone remember? Because the cycle of the year has to go through the entire Chumash, the entire 5 books, and depending on how the calendar works, there are more weeks than there are portions sometimes because of holidays and because of the number of portions and number of weeks in the calendar year. So sometimes we will combine 2 portions together. This year we do not combine the 2 portions. The 2 portions are separate. So Vayakhel is this week and next week will be Pekudei. But sometimes they are combined. Okay? So I'll show you when we have combined, which we will have in a few weeks, I'll show you how that works in the Chumash itself. But for now, Vayakhel is by itself. This week, we also do take out a second Torah scroll from the Ark because it's one of the 4 special readings for this time of the year, Parshas Torah, that deals with the red heifer. So we've had already Parshas Shkalim. We had a second Torah scroll for the half shekels that were given, a special reading for that. Even though we read about it this past week, that's what we actually read a few weeks ago as well, a snippet of this week's portion. And then we had Parsha Zachar, Eva, you're going to have to teach me Russian also. Eva, you have to teach me Russian. These are speaking Russian, you're speaking Russian. I don't know. All right, take care. Have a nice trip. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye. So 1 was Shkalim, 2 was Chodesh. No, excuse me. 1 was Shkalim, 2 was Zachar. That was the Shabbos before Purim. And then this week is Para. And then the following will be the 4th one, which is HaChodesh. So Para deals with the red heifer. A red heifer was a red cow that was a totally red cow that was used for the purification process of somebody who became ritually unclean from touching a dead body, came in contact with a dead body, and a person who gets in contact with a dead body, they cannot go into the Mishkan or the temple. They were ritually unclean. And there was a whole process with the red heifer, with a red cow, which is very rare because it has to be totally red. Doesn't happen too often to have a red cow. They use a process with the ashes of it to purify the person so that the person can be ritually clean and go into the temple. So we're going to read about that. Yeah, question.
This is Parsha Vayakhel, right?
Vayakhel. Torah scroll that we take out, which is a different, right. So the reason why we take out a second Torah scroll is to save time, because it can be far away and a lot of rolling. Like here's an example. This one is in Bamidbar, chapter 19. So to go from the end of Shemos, you have to go through all of the book of Vayikra all the way there. takes time. So instead, what we do is we finish reading Vayakhel, we lift up the Torah, close it up, put it aside, and then we have the second Torah, which we have ready at the space, and we open it up, we call up somebody to read that one. Is that clear? If it's not clear, please tell me.
I'm just curious, why this portion at this time?
Because depending on where it is in the calendar, this time of year, we do 4 special readings. Before Rosh Chodesh Adar, we do Shkolim. Before Purim, we do Zachar. Then the week before HaChodesh, which is before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, we do Torah, and then the Shabbos before Chodesh Nisan, we do HaChodesh. It's the time of the year that we're in. You're very welcome. And what we do is we do 7 aliyahs. Take a look at on the bottom. It says topics: the Shabbos, country craftsmen, construction of the Mishkan Tabernacle. Okay, and then on the bottom it says 7 aliyahs in the regular portion. Aliyos means people being called up. 7 people called up for the regular portion, minimal. Special maftir for Parshas Parah in the second Torah from Bamidbar Numbers, and the special Haftorah reading is not related to the portion, but related to Parshas Parah. Have a question, please ask. If not, we'll move on. Okay. Now, so the beginning of the portion deals with, again, the laws of Shabbos. And Moshe, oh, Chani, you're on. אתה מדבר אנגלית גם כן?
גם אני מדברת אנגלית וגם עברית. גם וגם. שלום,
Amazing.
שלום, you see? Hello.
A happy Purim to you. Are you in Yerushalayim?
Yes, I am in Yerushalayim. I mean, we just finished the Suda. I'm on my way to the Kaisel, but I was like, I want to get onto the Parsha here because I remembered and it's perfect timing, so why not?
Very good. In Israel, this year, it was, in Jerusalem, it was a 3-day Purim festival. Started on Friday, Shabbos, and Sunday. So Chani moved to Israel. Should be with tremendous mazel and bracha.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen. I'm a little tired, as you can tell, but I didn't overdrink. Baruch Hashem.
That's okay.
Unlike
If
so many people.
if you fall asleep, just shut the screen so we won't know.
We'll do. Okay.
Everybody gets something out of my lecture, a good nap, some inspiration, hopefully. I don't know. It depends on the person. Are they 8 hours ahead of us? I think more than that. No, how many hours are you ahead of us, Connie?
Right now it's 9.
9 hours.
Normally it would be 10, but we haven't changed the clock yet, and so we're 9.
Okay, there you go. She's 9 hours ahead of us. All right, very nice.
So it's 8:51 at night.
Okay, very
But
nice.
it doesn't feel like night over here because everything is lit up beautifully, and there's the light rail in the background. It's gorgeous.
Okay, wonderful. All right, here we go. So we're going to talk about Shabbos again. So why Shabbos again? And we're going to spend some time, because Shabbos is actually related to the construction of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, because most of the portion, till now, we've talked about the commandments of what is needed for the construction of the tabernacle. The tabernacle is the temporary, the mobile temple that Jewish people had in the desert for 40 years, right? If you have a question, what I'm asking, please don't stop that question. So whatever they needed to create those things, that's what we don't do on Shabbos. Because that was the ultimate in creativity, and that's what we don't do on Shabbos. And I think I'm going to just say, simple things before we get into more depth. If you want to create an atmosphere, you have to have certain, you want to go out with your spouse, a romantic evening. You're not going to go to a wild, loud bar, right? You want to create an atmosphere, right? What? A romantic atmosphere, right? Whatever you want to create requires certain things to make it work. Okay? And Shabbos is one of those things that has many requirements to make it special and make it work. And Shabbos is an acknowledgement of God as creator and that he's in charge. And the way, and a rabbi of blessed memory, Rabbi Gifter, said, it's an island of tranquility in a sea of tumult and confusion, which is a very beautiful idea. Think about unplugging, not having your phone or computer on. Think about no pollution, no smoking. It creates, and he says the closest example is a physical example until you experience a Shabbos is in the airport. You go into an airport lounge. The airport is bustling, people going coming in. It's quiet, nice, quiet place area. If you've ever done that, I haven't yet, but if you haven't done that, you've gone into the airport lounge. It's that was his example, which I think is very nice. And Shabbos is a person saying, yeah, but how can I do it? I'm busy, my work, and I have deadlines and this and that. And a very sweet example is a person is walking along, carrying a heavy load, and someone drives by and says, hey, would you like a ride? Where you headed? Says, I'm heading there. Oh, I'm going that way. I'll take you. Great, thank you so much. So the man goes into the car and he takes all the heavy luggage and he puts it on his lap and he's holding on to it. And the man's driving and he realizes that the guy holding the luggage is not putting it on down anyway. He's not putting it into the trunk, not putting it on the side. Says, why are you carrying all these heavy burdens? And the man says, look, you were gracious enough to pick me up. I don't want to put a strain on the car, put all the weight. So I'm just going to hold it on my lap. And the guy says, I'm holding you a whole time. It's not going to make a difference if you put it down. It's not less. And we have to understand if Hashem is providing for us, then we can let go of the packages of worrying about where our finances are going to happen and put it on him. Put it on. He's God is the driver. He's in charge, and we'll get everything done. And many people who made and not easy sacrifices for that from their perspective to keep Shabbos have found that somehow or another the money works out. It just does, and the deals work out, and things finish up. Hey, it's my busiest day, this and that, and it's really it's a matter of making God a priority, making Shabbos a priority. And there's a beautiful statement: more than the Jewish people have kept Shabbos, Shabbos has kept the Jewish people. I'll say it again: more than the Jewish people have kept Shabbos, Shabbos has kept the Jewish people. It's a unique thing. I had a question that a couple asked me once: what's better, to drive to shul or stay at home? Because driving to shul is one of the prohibitions, which we're going to find about the prohibitions of Shabbos, or stay at home. And I said to them, that's it's a false premise, that question. Because the argument was, if we go to shul, then we get the inspiration, we learn, and this and that and that. But if we stay at home, at least we're not, driving on Shabbos. I said, there's the third option: move closer to the shul. You can walk, so you don't have that issue, And what I'd like to do is take a look at the sheet that you have, the second sheet, practical examples of malacha. Malacha are the labors that they did. So here are the 39, they're called avos malachos, the 39 father categories of labor. And I say they're father categories because a father has sons, has children. So the idea is there are subtopics beneath it. Let me give you some examples. Now, when you look at the left side, it says it in Hebrew, choresh is plowing, zoreah is planting, kaitzer is reaping, maimer is bundling leaves, etc., etc. But I'm going to go through them with you to see that some of them are actually very practical. So some of this says, oh, I'm not a farmer, I'm not doing any of this stuff. Wait a second. You want to water your plants on Shabbos. You want to pick fruits or flowers. Those things you can't do on Shabbos. You can do them before Shabbos in honor of Shabbos, but not on Shabbos. So I'm going to go through. So threshing is squeezing or pressing for juice. Zora is winnowing, that means separating. Borer, removing dirt or water from food or drink, or sorting laundry. That's a problem on Shabbos. Tochen is grinding. Goza is shearing wool. Oh, I don't do that. Once, well, cutting your hair or cutting your nails would constitute the same idea. Yes.
Washing fruit. Dirt.
No, it's
Waves. You can do that, right?
you can do that. Yes, you can do it right,
And what
right
is picking of fruits, flowers? No,
from the tree or from the ground,
can.
not on Shabbos. No,
it doesn't matter from the tree or from the ground.
doesn't matter. It means it's is something that's growing that you're now disconnecting.
Mhm.
Okay. Now there's a wonderful book. If I can run into the library, I will show it to you. It's a picture book. It looks like a kid's book, but it is so stunning, A, and B, so practical in it. I'm going to see if I can find it for you. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll do that right now. It'll take a second. If she has it easily, I'll get it. If not, I'll just tell you about it. You think you have it? We're at home?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Right before Sunday, she came. Right before. Did you not see them? Before them? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm sure. Missouri. You don't get out there. No, we wouldn't. No, right now. It was a treat.
Good to see you. Take care. So it's the 39 of us Malachos. This is the book. We have it in the library. You can take it out if you want. Rabbi Czapnik. There's some beautiful things here. Here's the Mishkan to talk about, but here it'll. So what they did was they made pictures. Oh, we got that on Zoom. Let me just show you the book. You can get it at your Jewish bookstore, the 39 of us Malachos, and here they'll show you here Choresh plowing. So they have an old version of it, and then they have a newer version of it. What you can do, what you can't do, what's plowing. It's just beautifully, beautifully done. So this is a worthwhile investment as a synopsis of the laws of Shabbos. Okay.
Could you hold the front of it, Rabbi, so I could take a screenshot of it?
Take a screenshot. With me in
Got
it. Now I'll take me out of it, because if you
No, no,
go
no.
to
I
the
could
bookstore
always,
with my picture, they're gonna say, huh, who's that?
I could crop you out of it if I
You can
feel like.
crop me out, fine.
But I
not on
would,
Shabbos.
I would. Thank you, I got it, thank you.
You're welcome. You want it? Okay. You can get it for yourself also.
Folding the clothes, you can.
Okay, take a look here what we got. So here we have so a lot of examples. So sewing. What if I don't sew? Well, if you glue, so remember I said that they're called avos malachos, which means head categories, father categories. So what's the concept of sewing? I'm taking two detached items and putting them together to stay permanently. So if I glue something together, that's the same concept. So that's what I mean is like a subcategory of the same one. Tzad is capturing fishing, capturing an animal, closing a bird cage. Shochet, slaughtering or taking a blood specimen. Mechaba, putting out a fire, producing charcoal. So there's a lot of examples. Now, what I'd like to do is I saw something once in a sefer that I thought was fascinating, and I'd like to share it with you, which is a beautiful insight into Shabbos. So let's go through 1 through 11, what are those things involved with? Making bread. Someone see that? 1 through 11. Yeah? So that's related to food. Okay? 12 through 24, that's involved with clothing. Can everyone see that? 25 through 27, that's involved with shelter. But if you don't have this sheet, you can ask the office to send it to you. That's what these numbers are. The shelter. 28 through 36, that's writing a Torah scroll. And 37, 38 is fire, and 39 is commerce. I'm going to do it again, so if you didn't have a chance to write it out. So the malachas, the 39 malachas are in a particular order, as they're listed in the Talmud. And so 1 through 11 is food. 12 through 24 is clothing. 25 through 27 is shelter. 28 through 36 is writing a Torah. 37, 38 are fire. And 39 is commerce. It's carrying. So what's the commonality of all of those things? Did everyone get it? Did I say it too fast? You have it? You're good? I'm sorry? 28 through 36 is writing a Torah scroll.
Fishing.
I'm sorry?
Fishing, slaughtering, skinning.
Well, it's not fishing, it's tud, it's capturing an animal. That's the definition. 37 to 39, that's fire. And 39 is commerce, carrying from one place to the other.
So if you have a purse, you can't carry a purse, but keys, you have a wallet, you have can't you carry?
Well, carrying first of all, depends what you're carrying. If there's an Eruv, that's complicated laws about, some places have make something that allows you to carry, but you can't carry money or things like that.
But keys,
Keys.
yeah,
Keys you can carry if it's a place that you're allowed to carry. If it's a place where you can't carry, then you know what some people do? They have something called a Shabbos belt or Shabbos pin that they make into a key. And it's like decorative, so then you can wear it and carry the key. So you have the key on you, but you're not carrying it. So again, we're not going to do the laws of Shabbos. They're very extremely complex. Yes.
So would transportation be an extension of 38 carry?
Transportation has many issues because when you turn on a car, guess what happens? Fire goes on. Starting a fire, right? So that's why that's part of the thing, is knowing what does what.
Now, if you keep your car running all day, all night, then what?
And then you stick your hand in and you press the gas. What are you doing?
It's been fired up.
It's fired up. You're increasing the fire. So you're adding wood to the fire.
Okay.
Got it? You get the problem.
So
Okay.
if one action fits one category, it's considered
Giving
a prohibition.
right. So again, you have to know what the actions are and when and we're not talking about a case of emergency, which we've mentioned in the past. If to save a life, you turn on a car, you can go. That's but to see the Dodgers playing, that's not life threatening, even though some people think it is. But in any event, but okay. So what's the commonality between food, clothing, shelter, writing a Torah scroll, fire, and commerce? If you combine all those things, what do you have?
All things for the Mishkan or the Beis Hamikdash?
Well, everything for the Mishkan, but more than that. That's each specific ones for the Mishkan, but for us,
Creation.
Daily life.
it's daily life. What does a person need? They need food, they need clothing, they need shelter, they need Torah to be able to have a spiritual life, fire, and commerce. So we don't do those things that's the brilliance of this interpretation. I really like it. We don't do those things to say on Shabbos, Hashem, we're relying on you. We can prepare beforehand, we can put things on the fire then, but
So in the secular world, it would be Maslow's hierarchy
of needs in a certain sense, but we were saying, I'm letting go, Hashem. You're in charge of those things. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of those things. Now, one of the opening verse in the Parsha talks about this issue of one of the prohibitions. And it says the following. I'll read it to you. It's page 517. You don't have to get your own. I'll read it to you in English. If you have one, take a look. 517. Moses assembled the entire assembly of children of Israel and said to them, these are the things that Hashem commanded to do them. On 6 days work may be done, but the 7th day shall be holy for you, a day of complete rest for Hashem. Whoever does work on it shall be put to death. You shall not kindle a fire in any of your dwellings on the Shabbos day. Now, put to death has its own ramifications. The person has to learn and has to know what the prohibitions are, has to be warned not to, etc., etc. But one of the prohibitions, the example that's given in the Parsha is, don't kindle a fire in your house. Okay, that's one of the 39. That's an example, and it reflects on the other ones as well. But so there's a very powerful story which you may have even heard about this place. A woman came from Europe. Actually, her family came from Europe, and they moved. They finally moved to America from Europe, and the oldest daughter, who was 16, moved in with her uncle and aunt in Manhattan, and so she could find a job and attend night school. There are more opportunities in Manhattan than they were in upstate New York, and unfortunately, they heard many stories of their friends' children who no longer wished to be observant. It was very hard to get work because many of the stores and businesses had a sign. If you don't come in on Saturday, don't bother coming in on Monday. All right, it was a 6-day work week. It was blue laws. The Christians kept Sunday off, but the rest you had to work. And in 1911, Ida went from shop to shop and factory to factory trying to find a job. And one day she came to the Triangle Shirtwaist Company and was told of a job opening. She was informed that many young Jewish women worked at Triangle, and because of a strike at the plant a few months earlier, people could now work overtime to fill the orders that had piled up during the walkout. When she required days and hours, she was informed that she would have to come in on Shabbos. No one would be hired without agreeing to work on Shabbos. Ida needed the money and knew many of her friends who succumbed to violating the Shabbos. She wondered if she knew any of the Jewish girls at Triangle. She was already 19 and on her own. A fleeting thought crossed her mind. They were good Jews, even if they were not observant. Perhaps they wouldn't be good Jews in the old country, but this is a new world. America had different standards. But she was the daughter of Rabbi Hillel and Hindi Berkowski, and she said, no, the Torah says not to. And she did not go to work, and she didn't take the job. She declined it. The next week, on Shabbos afternoon, a fire raged in that famous Triangle Shirtwaist Company. Why I say famous? Because of it, unfortunately, 146 people died, most of them young women, and it became a defining point in business history because they had to make legislation legislation about having available doors open that were locked and safety things. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory is a famous factory fire that changed the work environment in the United States. And the week before, Ida had said, I'm going to keep Shabbos and I'm not going to go. So today, Ida's daughter in West Haven, Connecticut, Mrs. Hannah Markowitz, and Ida's granddaughter and great-granddaughter in Baltimore shudder when they remember the allusion to the Parsha on the events of the day. And they talk about, with all gratitude and pride, of Ida's commitment to keeping Shabbos. Had she been there, none of us would be here now. This is a very, very powerful story that's relevant to American history and Jewish history. So, another story that I just read recently was about a man who was being drafted into the Korean War. And he came to the Jewish chaplain, who was Orthodox, and said to him, can you plead that I not be sent to the battlefront? Because my parents are Holocaust survivors, and I am the only child that they have. And if they hear that I'm going to battle, forget about if I get killed, but if I just go into battle, they'll die of a heart attack. They can't handle it. So it was Shabbos, and the chaplain went to the commanding officer and said, so-and-so is a soldier, and he's being drafted to go to the front in Korea, and his parents are Holocaust survivors, and they can't handle the fact that he would be in battle. Forget about if they, God forbid, would lose him. And the commander was like, and he saw that the chaplain, the Jewish chaplain, had like the 10 Commandments on his lapel. He had like a pin. It says, "You see the 10 Commandments? They're made out of stone. They don't break. My orders don't break either. He has to go." And he tried to discuss it. Nothing to talk about. So the commander walked him out to his Jeep and says, "Hey, where's your Jeep?" He says, "I didn't bring my Jeep." He said, "Why didn't you bring your Jeep?" "Because it's Shabbos. I walked 6 miles to get to you." "You walked 6 miles and you're going to walk back now for a soldier you don't even know?" He says, "Yeah, that's correct." He says, "You know what? I'm going to change the order." And he changed the order and let the soldier not go to the front. It says on the condition that he visits his parents once a week, was the commanding officer. That was his order. So, and again, like I said, it's a process. One has to learn the Lamites Malachas, the 39 categories of labor, and it takes time. I have to learn. There's a lot of details, a lot of wonderful books. Again, the 39 Malachas is just one good example of a great book to get going on it. So the rest of the parsha deals with Moshe commanding the Jewish people to make the different parts and the different vessels inside for the Mishkan, and everybody was volunteering. And this is now, a person may say, why are we repeating the whole thing again? And what's it relevant to us? We're not doing a Mishkan now. And the answer is several answers. The power of Torah to feed the soul, even if it seems irrelevant to us. A person takes a pill. Does everyone know what vitamin goes to where? It's for our health. So we take the vitamins, right? So the Torah is a spiritual vitamin for our soul, even if it seems like it's irrelevant. Besides that, they're powerful lessons to learn from. For example, the Jewish people gave enough and more for the Mishkan. They volunteered more than what they needed for it. And Moshe included everything that they gave to make it part of the Mishkan. The sages tell us that the Gemara tells us that the Jewish people generally have mercy, have shame, and do acts of loving kindness. Mercy, shame, and acts of loving kindness. So mercy, everyone understands the virtue of mercy. What's the virtue of mercy? No. What's the virtue of mercy? Yeah, you're going to feel badly for somebody else, right? And loving kindness, doing that. Why is shame a good thing? Why is the second category by shunim, shame? Why is that a good thing?
It keeps us accountable. We wouldn't be embarrassed of doing anything bad, then I think it would be problematic.
Right. If you're not embarrassed, then you don't care about anything and everything, right? You just do whatever you want. But if you have a sense of shame, that means you have some dignity. Then you know, not an appropriate activity to do. I'm not going to do it. So that's the beauty of that. Another powerful lesson is the idea of the also, a third idea of why we study Torah, even things that aren't relevant to us today, is because when you study it in depth, then it's as if you're living it and doing it. So that's another beautiful idea as well. Interestingly enough, the Nasiim, the princes, the heads of the tribes, they said a beautiful idea. They said that we're going to wait to see what's missing at the end of the donation process, and we'll make up whatever the difference is. Is that a good thing? Imagine someone came to me and said, Rabbi, whatever deficit you have by the end of the month to pay the bills, I'll cover for you. Is that nice? Yeah, I'd be very happy. It would be great, right? But there's a negative. What's the negative? They have to wait and they're not being involved. And what ended up happening was they got messed up because everybody donated and there was nothing that they could contribute. So, there was a plus there and there's also a minus. And interestingly enough, let's talk about the Mishkan. What is the Mishkan was? It was a physical manifestation of a house of God and a way of connecting spiritually, physically to God. Hey, wait a second. Doesn't that sound like the golden calf? The sin that we talked about last week? So why is the golden calf bad and this is good?
Because God commanded it.
That's the big difference. God commanded it is the big difference. You come up with your own newfangled ideas, not a good idea. But if you are following what God says, that's a totally different story. And the Jewish people made many of the things. And one of the things that it talks about is the copper wash basin that they had in the Mishkan for the Kohanim to wash their hands and feet. Now, what happened was, you know who donated to that? The women donated to that. Their mirrors. In those days, they didn't have glass mirrors. They took copper and they shined it so that they could use the mirrors. Now, when the women delivered the mirrors, Moshe was a little bit not so happy to use that for the Mishkan. Why? Because what do women use the mirrors for? they used the mirrors to make them look beautiful for their husbands. And he thought it was like sort of a little maybe vain or a little bit unbecoming to be in a holy place like the Mishkan, the women's mirrors. And God said, no, 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 no. I want those mirrors. They weren't doing it just to make themselves beautiful. They were making themselves beautiful for their husbands. And what was significant about that? First of all, it's a beautiful thing. I still remember with great fondness, my mother, of blessed memory, before my father would come home, she would go to the mirror and make sure that, she looked neat and very presentable for him, which I thought was it made an impression on me. It's very, very sweet. She always makes sure to look good. But there was a deeper aspect of it as well. In Egypt, they were stuck under terrible servitude. And who would want to have kids? Who would want to bring children into this kind of world? But the women had hope. And they saw, no, I'm going to make myself attractive to my husband so that he should want to be intimate with me, so that we can create new generations. Because we may never make it out of Egypt, but future generations will. God promised that we're going to get out. And they had hope. So, and that's a very beautiful and powerful idea, to have hope for the future. And God said, those mirrors, that's what I want to be used for the kiyar, for the wash basin. The women were smart enough, by the way, much smarter than the men, not to donate for the golden calf, but they did donate to the Mishkan wholeheartedly. And one of the things that was used was their mirrors for the copper wash basin that the Kohanim used. So it's a beautiful a beautiful and powerful idea. So that's about Parshas Torah and Parshas Vayakhel. I'll end with a sweet story. When the people were giving so much, Moshe said, he didn't instruct the people to stop bringing the items, but they should just stop making the additional work. So this way, if they tell them to stop bringing, I was about to bring something, I wanted to contribute, now I can't. Moshe didn't want anybody to feel badly about it. And there's a very beautiful story with Rabbi Czapnik and Inspector. Someone came to share him some good news, and Reb Spector thanked him. A few minutes later, another person said, Rebbe, you heard what happened? I said, oh, thank you very much. And somebody else came, Rebbe, you heard what happened? Good news. Oh, thank you very much. And someone said, why don't you mention that you already heard the news? The people came to tell me the good news, derived pleasure from relating that information. I didn't want to take away that. I wanted them to feel good that they're telling me the information. And this is just a sensitivity, a beautiful sensitivity. Like, what do most of us do? Oh, I know, thank you, I know, right, I heard. No, oh, wow, so nice, thank you for telling, oh, thank you for telling me. And just you're being gracious to the person that way. All right, any questions, thoughts, comments? I have a song to play, but we're going to do it next week. I have to bring the recorder about Shabbos, and a sweet song about Shabbos. God willing, next week we'll do that. All right. Any questions, thoughts, comments? Going once? Going twice? And about laws of Shabbos, there's a lot to learn. I'm happy to help. So please feel free to ask yourself about it and how to do it practically.
Thank you, Rabbi Czapnik. It's a bit of a balagan over here.